Good morning, boys and girls in grade 10. We're now going to do the question number 15 on page 85, and this is going to be involving global variables, so that should be fun. So your school's hosting a talent contest and you write a program to generate entry numbers for contestants to determine the order of participation. And you open the talent program, question 4, in the contestant code folder. Take note of that. Now, Btn code and Btn order. There's two buttons. This one is Btn code. This one is Btn order. In Btn code, we're going to do something. In Btn order, we're going to do something. In display, we're going to use variables from those two buttons. But if the variables in these two buttons are local, we won't be able to use them in Btn display. So guess what? The variables that we use in Btn code and in Btn order have to be global variables. Otherwise, we can't use them in display button. Makes sense, isn't it? So we're going to do the following. Btn code, generate a random number between 10 and 200. I'm going to say from 10 to 200. I don't like the way they use the between there. Add this random number to the stage name, enter it in the edit box, and save this code in appropriate variable. In Btn display, we're going to display the stage name. See? So therefore, that stage name that we create in this Btn code, that has to be a global variable. So let's call it sStageName global string, so that in our display button we can use it, because get contestant code is going to generate our display name with a special code, a random number next to it. Right, so let's go and do that in our global variables. F12, go to our global variables here. There we go, there's sStageName, already been declared as a global variable. Right, now next one. In Btn order, determine the order in which contestants will participate by assigning a random order. So we've got to have an order for the contestant. There are 45 contestants and participation starts at 1. So from 1 to 45, random number from 1 to 45, that's going to be our order, and that is also global order num. Okay. Now, the thing that they want us to display is the stage name and the contestant code. Now, the stage name actually is just that stage name there that they type in the edit box, but the contestant code is going to be the stage name plus the number. So that is why S code is there. Now our code, I don't know why that's there. In fact, I don't think we need to use it. The other thing that must be displayed is the order of participation, which will be the variable called iOrderNum. So the stage name is going to be what they type directly into the edit box. Okay. The S code is going to be what we generate with our button click get contestant code, and then the order number that they appear is our order number. That's what we're going to use in this button click over here. We're going to generate it. We're going to make it happen in this button click. So first of all, they type in sStage, the stage name there. And we're not going to use that yet, except we will use it here in get contestant code, won't we? So get contestant code, we have to go and use whatever's in that edit box to generate a code. That edit box is edt name, and in get contestant code we have to generate a code. We'll do one thing at a time, but we have to realize that we are using the global variables. So generating a random number between 10 and 200 and adding it to putting it at the end of the stage name of the contestant, and that will be our S code. Where's S code? Right there, global variable. Why am I putting it here? Because we're going to display these three things We're going to use it in our display button click. So those three things that are sitting right up top here, these global variables, we're going to use we're going to generate a code over here. We're going to go and use them for displaying over here, and in this button click, order click, we're going to determine what the order number is. So let's do the first one that they're telling us to do. In Btn code, generate a random number between 10 and 200. Right, I'll go to Btn code, this one, double click the button, and guys, we don't need to put that there. We do need to put math up here, right up there. Okay, math must be there. And then we're going to generate a random code, and our random code, I'm going to make a local variable here, our code on integer, because I'm not going to use it separately for display. Our code, and this is not the order number, this is just a code, the integer that we're going to put at the end of the contestant name. So our code is going to be, it must be a number from 10 to 200. Okay, so random range 10, 201. So now we're going to add that to the end of our stage name. Now S stage name, we might as well go and get it now. S stage name, oh, spelling. S stage name, two S's in the front. We'll get our S stage name from the edit box, edt name.text. And then we're going to say S code, because we want to use it in another button click event, equals S stage name, join that to iCode. But iCode is an integer. How can we join an integer to a string? And take note that plus sign here represents joining. That is a string. S code is a string. See, there it is. We want to make it equal to the stage name, a string, plus an integer, but we better go and convert that integer to a string so that we can join that number to the end of the stage name. So there we have, we've allocated those global variables there, S stage name and S code are now sorted. Okay, we've got them values, we've given them values now. Those are global variables. This is a local variable. I don't need our code anywhere else in my program, so I'm just keeping it here inside this Btn code click event. So we've done what they wanted us to do over here. Right, now we're going to Btn order. So now we want to determine the order which they could participate. So that's going to be another random number from 1 to 45. And we're going to save it into a variable that we can use later on. Why? Because we have to find the order of participation, right there, order of participation. So order, number in participation order. This is a comment, folks, okay? That's a comment. You took 2 forward slashes, yeah, and then you can go and type anything you want. And the processor doesn't recognize it or read it, so you don't have to worry about that. But underneath there, we're going to type our code. Now, what are we doing? We're taking the global variable here called iOrderNum, because we have to use it later on. That's why it's a global variable. I'm going to say it's equal to random range, open brackets. So what is the number from 1 to 45? 1, 46. You want a number from 1 to 45, you better say 1, 46. And that's it. That's all that you have to do in this button click event. We've given that global variable its value right there. And our order number is going to be used somewhere else. It's actually going to be used here in this display event. So we've got that. Okay. Now for Btn display, we want to display the stage name and the code and the order of participation. S stage name is the stage name. S code is the contestant code. And iOrderNum is the order of participation. And we're going to display that in our memo or rich edit, this box over here. And we're doing this all in the Btn Display. So now we're going to double click Btn Display, and we're going to use those variables over here. See those? We're going to use them in Btn Display. That's why they're global. And we're putting it into, we're going to display them in red display. Red display dot lines dot add, and we're just going to type in stage name plus stage name equals, and then we join that to stage name. Where does stage name come from? It's not a local variable, it's a global variable. And in the other button click over here, Btn code, we set stage name to whatever it was supposed to be, edtname.text. And then we're displaying it in Btn Display. You see the use of global variables. Then we've got to go and do another one, another rich edit.lines.add statement. And this time we're going to put in the contestant code. And where did we get S code from? Contestant code. S code was in our button click for Btn code. See there, we made S code equal to stage name plus a random number. And there it is, it's a global variable. We only used one local variable here because we're not using our code anymore. So S code is a global variable, and S code, and it's a string already, so we don't have to worry. We just type S code there, and we know it will be displayed. So this is our display, our output in other words. Then we're going to do the next one, and that is order number. Order number, so in other words, the order that they're going to appear. And where did we calculate order number? We did that inside number in participation order button. We calculated our order num equal random range 1 to 46. 1 comma 46 means 1 to 45. And our order number is not a local variable, it's a global variable. There it is over there. And then we're going to put it in here, I order num, but it's an integer, isn't it? So what must we do? We're joining a string inside our rich edit.lines.add statement. We're joining it to an integer, and you can't do that, so that integer must be converted to a string. Int to string I order num. Make sure you have your brackets in place. And there it is. Now I'm going to run the program. Make sure you have your brackets, okay? Can you see there's brackets there and there's brackets there? Right, running the program. Now that is using global variables in a whole lot of different buttons. So if Lulu is the stage name, we're going to get contestant code and get that button and then click the display button. So if you click the display button before you go and do anything else, then you're going to have a problem. So get contestant code, get order number. As you can see, the order number is still 1. Now the order number is 28, so obviously it has been changed and so on. What you can do if you want to do a whole lot of rich edit.lines.add statements, and you want to see a difference, you want to see the the different order, the different names that you add, you can just add an empty line to your rich edit.lines.add. There's adding a blank line, so then you can enter more than one person. So Lulu's there, so get contestant code, do that, and then click display. And Jojo, get contestant code, do that, and click display. You see, so you can see that empty line in between the two. Right, so that's that, folks. See you on the other side.